All right, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Melanie Milosky. I'm the VP of Sales with Maverick Wine Company here in Colorado. And this month we've had the privilege of celebrating in Women in Wine all month long. And we wanted to acknowledge, as an acknowledgement of Women's Equality Day here in the US, this opportunity to be able to connect globally. We have three amazing producers from around the globe that we're honored to have with us tonight. And where our common thread here is the passion for wine, it's really about the people who make the difference and how we share life. And we believe that these women have amazing stories to share that all come from a place of ambition and brevity and lots of internal drive. So we wanted to share those stories and give them a powerful voice because we believe it's through our stories that we can gain the most inspiration from each other. So I'm gonna give this over to my co-host, Montana Ray, Director of Marketing, to introduce our producers.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so honored to be here. I think we can all agree that we're missing travel. So this is a way that we can get out and see the world again together through wine. It's always been the way to connect for me and for a lot of you guys watching. And I know for these special producers, I want to say thank you to Melanie and to the team at Maverick for creating a space for these kinds of things to happen, and to all of our ladies that joined us, from producers to shopkeepers that supported this program, as well as the importers and the supplier reps that work for these wonderful wineries as well. All women: Lizzie Butler from Vine Connections, Joe Barrett from Broadbent Selections, and of course Carla Nichols from Boisset. Three great companies owned by men who were wise enough to put powerful women in these roles. So I dig that. Same as Maverick. Thank you to Fouad Jazini for his grace as well, and for helping us make these things happen. So a quick introduction of all three of our amazing producers, and then we'll get into the wines and travel the globe together. So first, we are going to have Amanda Johnson from Spy Valley down in Marlborough, New Zealand. It is noon tomorrow for Amanda, so I love that. She is in lovely Blenheim in the Marlborough region and the northern tip of the South Island of New Zealand. And then beside her there is Jimena Lopez, coming to us at 9 p.m. from Mendoza, Argentina, the beautiful mountainous region that we love so well, from our partners at Vine Connections. And then from the Red Room itself, we have amazing Stephanie Putnam bringing us back home to the USA, Napa Valley, California, just an hour ahead of us here, or what is it? Behind us here in Colorado. So thank you all again for being here. And we'll start out with Amanda with her lovely Sauvignon Blanc. I can see you're there at the vineyard. I had the privilege of going in 2018 in February to visit New Zealand, and I have to say it is just one of these pieces of earth that is so incredibly precious and heavenly. And to meet the family at Spy Valley was one of the privileges of my life. So it's wonderful to reconnect with you in this way, and such an honor to have you here. This is a family-owned winery, truly dedicated to sustainability, one of the most beautiful architecturally designed wineries that I've ever seen. And without further ado, please share with us, Amanda.
Oh, hi. Thank you for that introduction, Montana. It's lovely to see you again. Really appreciate the invitation and the great job you do for us in Colorado. So thanks for that. And I see our lovely importer Joe is watching as well. So big hi to you all, and hi to all your guests. It's wonderful to come to you from New Zealand. As you said, it's Thursday, so I'm ahead of you all, so to speak. But a little bit about me. This is my family's vineyard. I'm second generation, which I see reading some of the bios of the amazing other women here who have a lot more history than I do. But my parents first bought the property here in the Marlborough, sunny Marlborough as we call it, in 1993. It used to be just farmed sheep. It's something New Zealand's very well known for. We have 60 million sheep, I think, so more than 10 times the amount of people here. But my father's not a farmer. He actually worked in business. He was a share broker. So at the time he took advice on what to do. And as Montana kindly introduced, we're at the start of the Waihopai Valley here in Marlborough. In the early 90s, it wasn't planted. There were no vines here. So it was deemed to be a bit of a risky move, but I guess my father wanted to take that risk, and so we planted our vineyard here. So we started off just as a grower, growing grapes, and then in 2000 started producing our own brand, Spy Valley. So as I said, I'm one of 3 children, but I'm here as managing director of Spy Valley. My brother and sister have other careers, so they're interested in being consumers. So, you know, it's important, quality control. They help with that, and my parents have 11 grandchildren, so there's definitely a legacy to pass on there. I actually studied commerce at university, and then did the classic Kiwi thing of going on the OE, which sadly the next generation are going to struggle with a wee bit with the COVID environment. But I actually ended up in Colorado. I worked in Vail as a liftie, was my first job, and then I travelled to 34 different states in the US while I was there in an old combi van we picked up. So I love Colorado, where you guys are based. I think it's fantastic, and you have such a great outdoor setting for adventures, much like we do here in New Zealand. So really relate to that. So we have a great team here as well. At Spy Valley, I think one of the main things that I would like to contribute as a woman in wine is the idea of building a strong team around you. You know, I think it's, you know, we've got mountains to climb, and there's always challenges, and to face them with a strong support network is fantastic. Anyway, back to more about us. So in 1999, we decided we wanted to create our own brand, Spy Valley. Well, actually, at that stage, we hadn't decided what we wanted to call our brand. And the Waihopai Valley has a satellite monitoring station, or a spy base, essentially, 5 kilometres down the road. So the Waihopai Valley was sort of colloquially known at the time as Spy Hopai Valley. So that was how it came to. My dad had a competition with all the friends and family around what we wanted to name our brand. So about 10 o'clock one night, I did a PowerPoint presentation to my parents in bed. I thought I had a captive audience, and it came down to my brother-in-law and I, and he's an artist who lives in Wellington, which is the capital of New Zealand, and he had Trout Creek, but he wasn't sort of aware that we don't actually have trout in our rivers here. So anyway, I managed to get that across the line. So we've had a lot of fun with the spy sort of theme over the years. We use it in a bit of our branding. We have Morse code around our caps and labels, and we like the James Bond theme. We've got a lot of posters up around that, and we certainly love a good spy themed party to celebrate. Anyway, so we have, we're 100% New Zealand owned and operated, and we have about 180 hectares of our own Johnson Estate vineyards. We're vertically integrated here at the winery, so we not only have our own vineyards, we make all the wine on site here, as well as bottle and package and store it before it gets sent out to market. So it's a really great way of having good quality control from our door to yours, essentially. And it means we have quite a unique team here, because we have everyone who works in the vineyard, we have bottling, and we have a really good range of diversity as well. And our senior leadership team is half female, half male. Our bottling line manager is a female. We currently not by management, but whoever was the best person for the job. Have a team of 3 great female winemakers. We have Wendy Stuckey as our chief winemaker. She's new to us about a year ago, and she comes from a very experienced background. We have Rochelle Collier, who's just magic. She's been with us for a long time. She's great fun, loves a little bit competitive in some of the sport games we play, but we love that about her. And she's a very clever, she's managed our Chardonnay and Pinot Noirs probably for the last 7 years. So, and then we have Emily Gaspard-Clark, who is just a young winemaker, an assistant winemaker, new to, who's, you know, just learning and growing, and she actually won the New Zealand Young Winemaker of the Year award last year. So we're very proud of her for that. And so we've got a very supportive team here. We've got women who work in the vineyard as well. So, you know, I'm really proud of that. But as I say, we select on the best person for the role, and not necessarily because of their sex or gender or anything. And we have a range which makes it a really fun and a fun atmosphere, and everyone gets along well and treats each other really well with respect and dignity that they deserve. So really proud of that. Montana was very kind. We have a beautiful winery here, which we tried to build in keeping with the environment. We use a lot of cedar wood, and we've got a lot of native plantings around here. And we also have a beautiful vineyard in the lower Wairau, which is has a natural wetland, a spring-fed wetland that we manage with weed control, pest control, and replanting the vegetation to try and preserve that. And even I went for a walk down there the other day, and just to see the bird life, the strength, and how it's coming on every year is really exciting and fantastic. I'm not sure if any of you who are listening have been to Marlborough before, but you know, it is quite a vast array of vineyards. So, you know, we feel quite proud that we can sustain, you know, the ecology of the wetland and promote some diversity in a very sort of slightly monoculture environment. But we also manage the soils using organic matter and compost to replace the nutrients. Water's obviously a critical resource here in Marlborough, and so 2 of our vineyards, we don't irrigate at all. They are self-sustaining, which is fantastic. We were the first in New Zealand to install solar power for the winery, like 200 solar panels, which provide about 20% of our power, which is great. We use 80% recycled bottles, and we always look to lighten the weight of those. I know people look tonight shows quality, but for us it's actually, you know, if we're transporting our lovely product across the world, we want to lower our footprint there with weight. We recycle all our plastics and soft plastics, and just we, you know, like to have a culture where we don't waste. We also have a staff vegetable garden, so everyone can help themselves. We've got big passion fruit trees and fruit trees around the vineyard, and a lot of olive trees as well.
I love this, Amanda. You speak a lot about you know, team and diversity, and you know, that's the best when you can get the best out of everyone, have the best expression, you know, of everyone's strength. And it's a really good message because we are better together, right? And
Yes.
so I really can feel that in your wines and how you express yourself, and you know what you're saying today. So well done.
Yeah, so we actually
so maybe let's talk a little bit about, you know, we're
wine
first.
Yeah, so as you'd appreciate, Marlborough is very well known for our Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. And so, thank you very much. So that's what I've got in my glass here. We also produce 6 other varietals. We do a Pinot Gris, a Gewürz, a Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and what else? Riesling. Yeah, thank you. But the Sauvignon Blanc is definitely our mainstay. That's 80% of our production and what New Zealand has become famous for. So here, I think, have you got the 2019? Is that?
Yes, where's my glass? Yes, yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Perfect
So
pick me up, I must say.
Oh, yeah. It's a very popular drop. We've got, and it's one that actually is delicious on its own, but also with food can be really enjoyable. So the 2019 vintage was quite a dry one for us. So this was quite, a great season really. So it's lots of citrus and green herbs and tropical, and quite rich and textured. So we're very proud of our Sauvignon Blanc, and we love the fact that people get to enjoy it all around the world, which is fantastic. And it does. People think Sauvignon Blanc is a not to be cellared, but it can actually be cellared for several years and still retain its fruit forward and delicious flavors. Yeah. And
Amanda,
yes.
so of course, I think most of the folks watching have Sauvignon Blanc in their glass, which is such a great place to start. Obviously, that is like the ultimate cocktail wine, transitioning from the workday, getting into the afternoon, or in your case, the middle of the day, which in the wine business don't discriminate around our drinking time. We try not to, but I'm wondering, you speak to team, and it's such a big part of what we do, and of what I know that they do at Bodini and Graffito and Raymond as well out in California. So I think that's certainly a common thread. Is there any, I like this question because it can really provide an interesting answer for all of us that we can relate to, even for those watching that are not in the wine industry. Can you think of any specific challenge or advantage that you think you've experienced because of your gender in the industry, and how that's kind of shaped what you do at SPY?
I think being a woman, for me, it's a lot about listening to others. I think I'm very good at trying, here it's really important. I want to grow the staff. So I think being a woman, you have a lot of empathy for other people's plights. I mean, we've just all been through COVID, and that certainly brought out the extremes of needing to show empathy and kindness, and everyone experiencing it differently. And I think I've noted, I think women are very perceptive to other people's feelings, and when people come into the job environment, the work environment, I think it is important to understand what's happening for them outside of that, because that can have an effect on their day-to-day. And so I really think women are very good at empowering other, particularly women. I think as a country, New Zealand, women are very proud that, we were the first country to have the vote, the women's vote and things like that. So there is a culture of women feeling like they can take on challenges. And well, you see in our Prime Minister, we're all pretty proud of how she handled, the COVID environment for us. No one's out of the woods yet, and we aren't either. But I think for me, I have a daughter as well, and I just want to show her that actually nothing, a challenge is an obstacle to overcome. And I think, we have some really strong core values here at SPY, and part of that is working collaboratively. And I think women are very good at hearing other people's opinion and taking it on board and being open to suggestions, I suppose, is that, yeah.
I love that. We're so much more than the jobs, right? Like, you're so much more than a producer, you're a mother, and so many other things. You know, we have a lot of different roles that we play as women, and our men too. Those that are the open-minded ones that really accept and support us are you know, we're blessed to have them in our lives. So we are so grateful to you for sharing the wines. I swear that looks like a picture behind you in the window. It's just like, is that
it's my view every day. I'm very spoiled, but I know Stephanie and Jimena, they will have beautiful views as well. And so thank you so much for having us. I didn't get to talk about the wine too much, but I'm hoping you're all enjoying a taste.
Share anything else about it. I think everyone's probably half a glass deep and feeling pretty happy about it by now. So please don't rush yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know, I just also want, from all of us in New Zealand, you know, we really hope you're all keeping safe and, you know, and taking care, because we understand, you know, we're in a bit of a privileged position at the moment where we can, you know, go out and operate pretty normally. So we know it's not the same for you guys. So we're thinking of you all. And cheers. Stay safe.
Cheers to you. All right, so let's jump on the cheapest flight ever, also very quick. We are going to Argentina with the amazing Jimena Lopez. Speaking about multitasking, this lady definitely has that down pat. I think that's a common thread here. So Jimena is the amazing winemaker behind Bodini Wines and also Graffito. And so she'll talk to us a little bit about both brands, but what I really want to highlight are a couple things before I steal what she's probably going to say is I think Mendoza is so fascinating. Being from Colorado, we have a beautiful mountain climate here, and the vineyards of Mendoza are some of the highest in the world, and they are really, really breathtaking. I haven't had the privilege of going, but as soon as this thing lifts off, that's going to be next for sure. So we'll hear about the vineyards, and then also this woman knows Malbec. So a lot of you guys have rosé, or you have Bodini Malbec, or you have Graffito Malbec, 3 totally different expressions of the same grape variety. So that's enough for me. Jimena Lopez.
Well, thank you, Amanda, very much for the introductions. And I have to say thank you to you and Melanie and everyone from Maverick for this opportunity. As I told you before, Maverick has been a super, super big supporter of our wine. So for me, it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor for me to share this time with Amanda, with Stephanie from different part of the world. I have been in both countries several times, so it's a privilege for me to share this experience with you. Oh, that's my Malbec. So just speaking a little bit about my background, I was born here in Mendoza. I started working as a winemaker when I was very little. I worked in a winery as soon as I finished high school when I was 18 years old. And I never finished, I never stopped working. And I had the opportunity also, while I was studying in university, work in different countries, in United States, in Mexico, in France, in Germany, in Australia. So that gave me the opportunity to have a big overview of different winemaking process and different cultures and different techniques. So back in 2008, I was working as assistant winemaker in a very traditional winery here in Mendoza. And in 2008, I decided that I really wanted to start making my own wine without following anybody else's recipe, without following anybody else's technique. I had this feeling and this idea from inside that I really want to make a special Malbec. I had all these ideas from my different travels, and this is when I decided that I wanted to make a special Malbec that represent our country in a special way. So I quit my job in this winery, and I jump into my truck. I rent a couple of houses. I rent a pump, and I went to someone else's winery, and I picked beautiful over 100 years old vine, and I just bought the grape. And this is when I started making this wine, these graffito wines that I'm going to talk to you about. So since 2008, I have been making my own wine and working in different projects as a consultant winemaker. And really, it's my proud to represent Argentina, to represent this Argentinian flag, which is Malbec. And I have been in the United States for 12 years now. This is my own harvest number 12 with Graffito. So I'm very proud of it. And I think Argentina now have a good opportunity, not only with the Malbec, but also with to show diversity. We can also produce many other red wines, many other varieties, white wine as well. So we are well known for our Malbec, but we are working really hard in show our ID, our identity, our personality, always with the Malbec as a flag, but with many other different type of wine. So talking about Mendoza, well, Mendoza is in the southern west part of Argentina. It's right next to the Andes. From my window, I can see the Andes every day. Actually, in Mendoza, you can see the Andes anywhere you are. It's always present. Mendoza is the most important wine producing province. We produce the 80% of the wine produced in Argentina. And of course, we call it the land of the Malbec. Here in Mendoza, you can find the oldest vineyard. In place, all these three wines come from what we call the land of Malbec, where you can find the oldest vineyards, over 100 years old vineyards. And it's a real treasure and super interesting area to visit and to take wines and to take grapes to produce Malbec. So just an expression about Malbec. Malbec, it's a fantastic variety that comes from France, from the Gard regions. But I always said that the Malbec found its place in Mendoza, that the climate and the soil has nothing to do like its own land in France. Mendoza is a desert. We have a continental climate. It's dry. That's why we have artificial irrigation. And we also have alluvial soil. So in Mendoza, depending on how far or how close to the Andes you are, you have different type of climate and you have different type of soil. So we take that as an advantage, because even if we have, for example, the same clone of Malbec, depending on where we plant the vineyards, we can have a totally and completely different wine. And that is what makes Malbec so exciting, because depending on the region we can get a completely different wine. And also, then an interesting part about the Malbec that is so generous and so, versatile variety, is that you can make different type of wines. For example, Bodini Rosé. This is a wine that we started making for United States back in 2016. It's from Luján de Cuyo. And from the moment we decided to make this wine, we said we don't want to copy anybody else's style. We want to present a Malbec Rosé with the personality of the rest of the Malbec, but in a lighter, fresher, and with a nice acidity, super fruity, especially for this time of the year, for you in the Northern Hemisphere, because we're in winter, but we drink rosé anyway. So we wanted to make a super millennial, fresh, easy drinking, happy type of Malbec. And we were very, very proud of making it. And I think it's doing very well in the United States. And it's a super nice product to share, showing our flag, our Malbec. So this is the red version. The Malbec, also from Luján de Cuyo. It comes from 15 years old vines, and what we try to achieve in this Malbec is to have 100% of the personality of the Malbec, but we want to present fruit. You know, the special flavors of Malbecs are super red fruits, plums, and sweet tannins. It's super sweet, super complex, but it's an easy drinking wine. It has no oak at all, so we want to present a young Malbec, super powerful in expression, easy drinking, every day, but it has a really, really nice quality, let's say. And then on the other side, this is my baby boy, my own wine. Grafito is, I have 2 girls. I'm a mom of 2 girls. This is my baby boy. This is the reason why I quit my job in the winery. Grafito in Spanish means graphite. Graphite is the inner part of a pencil where you designed or where you draw your ideas and your plans. And so I designed to make a special Malbec from Argentina a long time ago. So these traits at the label represent my dream, represent my plan, has my fingerprint, because I want to present not only a beautiful Malbec from an old vine from Mendoza, but also my personality, because I decided after 15 years that I didn't want to make someone else's style. I really wanted to make something different, something that has my soul and that represent a beautiful Malbec from Argentina. So here we can see from the same variety, 3 wines completely different. And so this is the beautiful thing and the special thing about this Argentinian wine.
So Jimena, I just have to step in because I've known you for a long time. And Amanda was speaking about you, about teamwork and empathy and compassion, and it's so hard to talk about all that you are in these 3 wines, because you are the queen of bringing a lot of people together in Mendoza, and pardon the expression, but you are the art of the tango, right? Where you really perfect that we don't have power with force, we have the power with the invitation. And I would say that you so gracefully invite so many people to succeed and really listen and are never boastful about it. And so I have to salute you, because you are a force.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
To Bodini, what I love in the expression of Mendoza, because there's so many, microclimates and so many. Mm-hmm. It's the perfect way to say that, it takes people to get, the best expression, right? And I love
exactly.
The original standing of Bodini as it was created is based on the decisions of individuals, not institutions, right? And so
right.
You have a perfect narrative to complement that. So thank you to you for joining us, and everything that you do that would take us a lot of time to talk about.
Thank you, Mel.
And it's nice that Amanda set the table for the power of diversity and team and just collaboration. It's super important.
Yes, and I would like to add, because of what Amanda said, today we're celebrating the Women Equality Days, and I always say to my students, because I teach in the same university I was a student, I was graduated, that when I started 25 years ago, I was the only girl in my class, and it was the first 5 years of my career were really, really tough, because I'm not gonna lie, were really, really tough. But then was becoming easier. And to be fair, all the person who gave me the opportunity to work in different states of my career were men. So I have I'm always grateful. I never forget that I have great opportunities from men, and they were all my teachers, and I could learn from them, and I could have a good opportunity to work. So I think that to me, the best team is the mixed team, because women has certain talents and men have different talents. So the best team you can ever set up is a mix-up to work together to make a successful team. And I said that to my students, and always said that to, you know, the seasonal students that work with us at the wineries. Just take the best of everyone and make it a complete and a successful team.
Perfect. So here's to the dance, right?
Like a tango.
Like the tango. Salud.
Salud.
Mute and volume off.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm just even more champing the bit. Argentina calls me. I've got to get to this place. That's happening next, it's for sure. 2021, that'll be our year. But let's continue on. I mean, we're going back to Napa. We're heading back home now. And speaking of the power of male energy and feminine energy working together in a powerful dance of collaboration, you can't have that conversation without mentioning Jean-Charles Boisset. He is a character and a mastermind of wine and of people and a host. I think he's one of the only people I've ever known who has, from a person watching him view, has like mastered himself. And he has placed the incredible Stephanie Putnam in the role of winemaker at Raymond Vineyards, which I can only imagine what it's like to do what you do. And I do have to mention also extreme gratitude for all three of you taking the time, but particularly to Stephanie, because our other two guests are down in the Southern Hemisphere and it's spring for them there. And Stephanie is on the brink of harvest. And like us here in Colorado, they're also battling wildfires, and it's, you know, bring it on 2020, whatever it is. You know, we take it and we handle it with grace, but thank you so much for carving the time to be here with us tonight. I know you've got a big harvest in front of you. You can tell us exactly how many wines it is that you make, but it's a lot.
No, I would prefer not to. Thank you. I feel a little like I'm not in the right company, especially with that intro that you put in with Beyonce and all of those other very famous people. I just somehow don't feel like I fit in quite that same category. But I do appreciate the grouping. Really, actually, appreciate your even asking me. I like to consider myself as a winemaker, and I've been in this business for a very long time. And I don't want to say exactly how long, because then everyone would know that I'm older than my hair looks. And I actually, like a lot of people, didn't necessarily actually want to start out to be a winemaker. I was fortunate enough that my parents were some of the original wine and foodies. And here's a little note. My dad actually is from Colorado. He's from Brighton, Colorado. And we have a small little farm. It produces nothing except for dirt. But, and I actually, at one point in time, sorry, he was quiet all the time. And I actually, at one point in time, wanted to go to Colorado for university. And my mom said, well, let me tell you how it's going to be. If you go to a California state or university, I will pay for it. And if you go to anywhere outside, then you're going to have to help pay for it. And I'm like, well, let me think about that. I think I'll stay inside. I'll stay in California. So I can't imagine doing anything else. Again, I was very fortunate. My parents were some of the original wine foodies. So as a Californian, I grew up drinking red wine. I grew up drinking Cabernet. It's something that I enjoy and I love. And I remember being 8 when I was drinking. And my parents actually had, he's playing with the dog toy right now. That's actually not me. We're multitasking, right? That's what we do. So I can remember as a child, my mom and dad would ask me we're just going to take this toy from him. Done. Okay. It's live. My parents would ask me if I wanted to drink wine, if I wanted to have grape juice. And typically, if I was going to have grape juice, I would color coordinate the grape juice with the wine. So if I was going to have, my parents were drinking red wine, then I would have standard grape juice. And if they were going to do a white wine, then I would have a white Concord is what it was called. So I just kind of grew up with that, and actually fortunate enough, had my own decanter. So when my parents would decant wine, I could decant it. Randomly, it was Baccarat, not because the parents had money, it was because it was affordable then. Unlike the Baccarat chandelier that is right above me as my little crown. But so
You know, that is actually perfect. How could you have, you know, planned that any better?
not my first Zoom.
It's actually not on this.
I've got many screens. I have a fish scene because people know I'm a diver, so I like to put the fish scene in. But since I'm trying to present, you know, how much, you know, professional I am, aside from my dog, I thought I would have the Raymond Red Room. So having the wine in my background and clearly deciding that my parents were not going to pay for my school if I went anywhere outside of California, I went to Davis, and I actually wanted to be an FBI agent. I wanted to be the person that caught all the bad people, which is ironic since I'm very short. And everyone could outrun me. Oh my God, dog, really? Now?
And now you work for John Charles, so that's kind of perfect.
So anyway, I went to college. I wanted to be a FBI agent. Oh my God. Seriously, there you go. Play with it. Don't annoy me. And at the time, and I think this has changed, but at the time there was a height requirement. And you had to be 5'2", and I'm not even 5 foot. I mean, in fact, I'm actually like 4'11". If I fluff my hair, then maybe I'm 5 foot, but generally I'm 4'11" and 3/4 and shrinking apparently. Now I'm 4'11".
Fist fight and fury though, 4'11".
Yeah, that's what the doctor told me, and I said, no, I'm 4'11 3/4. You can agree with that, and then you can write down 4'11 1/2. Clearly, you've not worked in the service industry. You just nod your head. So realizing that I was too short to be a FBI agent, I took a class in wine and like, oh my God, I get to drink every day and make wine. This is awesome. Who doesn't want to be 18 and drink every day? It's awesome. So I am so sorry. He was so quiet the whole time. After graduating from college, you know, it's like everyone, you always want to get a start in a job. And I worked in the cellar. I will say there was about 20% women in my college class.
So, right?
This is reality, right?
Most of us are, you know, it's like the feeding the sandwich at the homeschool with the kids. You're like, just please, over there.
So I will say that the first job I ever got was actually in the cellar, and I went on a couple of interviews, and on one interview, someone actually said, you know, you're lucky I'm even considering hiring you because it's a male field, a male dominated field. A while ago, they would never get away with saying that now, but this was a while ago. And but he wasn't trying to be mean. He was just saying, look, I'm going to offer you the job, but you just need to know that it's a little bit more of a challenging environment. He was just being honest, and I respected that. I didn't take the job. I took a job elsewhere because I got 25 cents more an hour, and at that time it was critical to, yeah, that was huge. Again, a long time ago. So I worked my way up. My first job was at Hess Collection, also in Napa, and I worked in the cellar. And at the time, I spent a small amount of time in Mendoza because we worked with Bodega Norton. Yeah, so I did a little short harvest stint in Mendoza. But when I was at Hess, I started off in the cellar, and that was at the time where the industry was growing. And so I was able to grow with the winery, and I had a boss who was male, who also was very welcoming of just anyone who was eager to learn. And so he really kind of took me under his wing and really helped encourage me to grow. And from there, I worked there for, 10 years. My last 3 years there, I was the winemaker. And then from Hess, I actually moved over to Farniente. I was a winemaker at Farniente for many years. And then there was a Frenchman who entered the picture, very quiet. I was really working on getting him to come out of his shell. Fortunately, as everyone knows, he loves women. He loves everyone. So I've been working with Jean-Charles now for almost 11 years. And, you know, he embraces everyone. He really encourages everyone to grow and to shine. And he loves ideas. And I think it's just been a great partnership. It's a company that really actively encourages women. Our COO is a female. My winemaker is a male. I'm working with him, and you know, when I retire, he's gonna probably take over for me. Maybe not. I keep threatening to retire. Maybe one day that will happen. But I think as a female, one of the things that I love to do is actually help mentor talent, because I was given a break at a time when women weren't really being given breaks. Even working in the cellar, I mean, I won't tell you the stupid things that they did to me in the cellar in order to make sure that I could, hang out with them. And the only reason I was even hired in the cellar at that time was I used to be a rock climber. And so I used to do a lot of rock climbing, and they knew that I could be physical and handle it. But, you know, it's fortunate. Someone really took me under the wing. And so I pay it forward. I had a great opportunity. And so at every place that I've been, I really try and, you know, recognize anyone and everyone and try and pay it forward as, you know, I grow, everyone else should grow with me. And we're, again, lucky. Jean-Charles is a very energetic person, and we're constantly coming up with new projects. It's sometimes challenging, but it's always entertaining, and he likes to really challenge you, because by being challenged, that's how you grow. You know, if you stay within your little box, right, then nothing is ever going to happen. But you have to push the boundaries, and you can do it in a very nice way. And it's always challenging to, as a female, push those boundaries in a way that people don't say you're being a witch, right? If a man were doing that, sometimes it's a little different. They're just being strong or assertive. And other times, if it's a female, they're just being a witch. And you know, I would like to be, you know, a female winemaker that is nice and still is strong enough to kind of push the boundaries and keep things moving forward. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, I'm so grateful for what you're saying, because it's so true. And we're you know, talking of, you know, these experiences that we're sharing together as we grow. And I think this whole experience we're having with pandemic and being shut down has really brought our communities across the globe to our knees in a way that I do believe can be more positive than negative in some ways, apart from the life lost and the tragedy that goes with it. There are things that have been illuminating for people all over the world. And I think that there's a lot of positivity that can come, things like this, where we come together and have these conversations. Do you, if you do retire, do you have anything that comes right to mind as like a legacy or something that you would want to be like thought of if someone were to refer to you after your time with Raymond is over?
Sorry, I don't know what happened to my video. There we go. If I retire, then let me show you. That's what I'll be doing. I will water.
Yes, queen. That's so awesome. I love that. You're good. So you're a scuba diver.
Yes, I'm a scuba diver. And if I retire, you know, what do I want people to know me for? I would say it would just be someone who, you know, really encouraged and honestly mentored people along the way. I really do like to take a lot of pride in that. I like to take a lot of pride in the fact that you can be a strong female, but also be nice and respected and get your point across. I think everyone has kind of touched on the one thing that they think perhaps a female brings to the party. Amanda, you talked about empathy. I think the other thing that women really bring is learning to listen to your gut. And I think that we intuitively know that, and I can't always tell you why I want to do something the way it is. I listen to my gut. And over the years, it's really helping mentor people to say, okay, this is the right decision for, because your gut is telling you that to do. And so I think women are just really good about listening to their gut.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Amanda, what about you? What would you say? Is your daughter going to take over, or is this the Amanda Johnson legacy? Can you talk your kids into this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the ideal out of the 11 grandchildren, it would be fantastic. My 2 sons who are at university, all their assignments they send me are based around sort of concepts that we could do with SPY, like innovation and things like that, as part of their courses. So I love that. And they come and work in the vineyard and in the cellar door. So they are passionate about it. And my daughter too. So I think one of the biggest things I've learned is to trust your instincts, like she says, that, and just be positive in your decision making. We might not get it right all the time, but, really trust that your gut, as Stephanie said, is going to lead you down the right path. So, yeah. And I just mentioned in the comments, sorry, that too, and you were talking about change, that I really believe, it's always constant, and we're seeing some of the most massive change happening in the world at the moment. But I think as women, we are very adaptable, we're brave, and I think, our passion and kindness is what will, bring us through the other side. So, yeah, and yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you so much. Jimena, what would you say? Any last words? Legacy, is that a big word, or is that easy for you?
Well, I don't know. I always tell to my 2 girls that I don't really care what they do as long as they are happy. And my legacy is not going to be if they want to follow me in the wine industry or making the wines or within the wine industry. But my legacy is to show them that they can achieve whatever they want to, that they can work hard, and they have to be prepared to fail. They have to be prepared to fall down, but they need to get up. And they need, because this is the example that I'm trying to give them. Doesn't matter if you fail. You have to start all over again. Just make sure that you're going to achieve what you want to, that you are capable to do and to achieve whatever you really wish. And you only have to do, just work hard, be consistent, and you're going to make it. So that's the legacy I want to give to my daughters. And that's what I always say that to my students. So that's what I think.
Thank you so much for that. All of you are such dynamic individuals. We are so blessed to have your time and energy here today, and so incredibly grateful for all of the people watching. We've had about a solid 40 the whole time. Really appreciate that. Your presence is our present, because I know that it might be 40 screens, but there's more people than that watching. So thank you for your energy and for joining us together. And also, if there's any questions, please go ahead and type them in to the search bar. We'll take a couple more moments if you have any specific questions for the producers, but all of these ladies are phenomenal, reachable via social media, and you can find them through our account, Maverick Wine Colorado. We've been tagging the heck out of them for the last week, so please follow them and check out their wines. And I just want to say a couple words about the reason that we chose the format that we did. We spoke a lot about team and collaboration on this program, and we had a really incredible response to this from the state of Colorado. We had about 15 important to us retailers join and collaborate with us, and they shared in a common goal to bring the people of Colorado this program, and they all worked together to sell whichever wines from these lovely producers that they carried, so that you could choose what you preferred. If you're a red wine person, you could drink red wine, if you want to, you know, or have a little bit of everything. And there's so much diversity here, and it's so special to have that all kind of come together with a focus on the people as opposed to the product, because it's the people first. And as Mavericks, it's our responsibility to be the missionaries of these producers. We take that very seriously. It's been a little bit of a different format for us this year, obviously, but still it's the honor of our lives to do it. So thank you. And I'm going to pass it back over to Melanie for a couple of closing comments. But before I do, I want to mention that we will be doing this once a month, because I've now had baptism by fire and I think I know how to do it. And we are scheduled for Wednesday, September 30th. We're going to do a little road trip through California road trip. So we'll be bringing you 3 new producers. I have no idea who they are yet, but I promise they'll entertain you and give you good wine. I'm going to give it back to Mel to close us out. And ladies, cheers, salud, gracias, everything. So grateful, so grateful. And Melanie, close us out.
Before
Okay,
you close it out, I was just quickly looking at some of the comments,
Okay.
and someone wanted to know about our red blend. And I just really quickly say something. It is our virtual background. I think they're talking about this. It's Jean Charles. Everything is going to be velvet. It's a velvet label. And the red blend is a cute little story. A couple of years ago, I went to Jean Charles and said, I think we should do a red blend. I think people are really hungry for a red blend. And he said, oh, maybe not. And then 2 years ago, he said, Stephanie, I think we should do a red blend. I'm like, wow, that's such a great idea. Let's do it. So now we have the red blend, and the comment was, you know, like, describe it. And for me, our red blend is traditional. We have a healthy chunk of Cabernet because it's a Napa red, and people want that perception of Cabernet tannins. I want that power, but at the same time, we try and make it a little bit more approachable. It's a red blend. People want something that's accessible. They want cab-like without paying the price and without having to hold it for 10 years. So our red blend is really an attempt to try and give people, you know, like this is Napa. This is a young Napa that you can drink it now, you can drink it later. It's we blend in Petit Verdot, my favorite varietal, Cab Franc, the 5 Bordeaux varietals, and then usually I'll throw in a little bit of California twist with some Zin and Petit Syrah. So I think I answered that person's question real quickly. Yeah, okay. Sorry, thanks.
No, perfect. Thank you. That's why we're here. So look, to everyone, everyone here, I just want to thank you for your time. And ladies, to your brevity of, you know, sharing your stories, because it's through stories and bold conversations that we share that we really evoke change, right? And thank you for sharing your, sharing life with us. It's the best thing that I love about wine life. And here's to the allowing to be the best expressions of ourselves. And I am just leaving this feeling so inspired with a reminder of never give up, because we are limitless. And this was an amazing reminder that we have 0 limitations. So be well, and thank you, everyone.